Okay, so we're gonna continue first arena run ever, which was we started off pretty poorly, 0 and 2, but then I won 2 in a row. So I have this really cool like legendary-esque card, which is like almost works as a hero power, where you it's like some swamp queen or whatever. For 0 cost, she can do infinitely. She starts with like 4 charges. For 0, you can give up 1 life and draw a card, so that's like life tap almost. And then the other 2 are cool too, but they at least require some kind of resource. I forget what they were. Something like 2/2/1 spiders or something, and then this is a cube where you don't get to keep the cards, but that's kind of what I'm used to, so I'm fine with that. Let me actually look at it a little bit. I want this one to be meaningful because it's like my first one ever, but I did start off, like I said, 0 and 2, so anything now is just like house money. But I get confused a little bit about the lands here because you have 40, so if you don't get lands here, I thought somebody said like lands would be provided, but they aren't, because if you didn't have these, you'd just be screwed. Or I guess you get some of these, maybe swamp or whatever, but you would need more than that. But yeah, what is the legendary thing again? Or at least it feels like a legendary, I don't even know. Menace Reach, this is the token that it spawns. So you start with 4, and if you get up to 8, you get an emblem with whenever opponent dealt combat damage by 1 or more creatures you control. If that player lost less than 8 life this turn, they lose life equal to the difference. That's too complicated, and you're probably not going to get it up to 8 charges, but even the -3 is very good. So you start with 4, so you can immediately summon 2/2/1 spiders, and then with Menace and Reach too, which is cool. It's like that one big spider, I forget, the 4/4, with like the forest set or whatever. And so the point is, what does Menace even do? I forget. The point is that you can use it as a life tap as much as you want. You lose 1 life, and then you also can keep getting it up to 3 and using that to summon more too. So that was very cool. It's a bit slow maybe, but... And some of these, I don't really like the forest overlap with this. I much prefer the skull, whatever you call it. Yeah, I don't even know that much, like what the skull value is called. I'll just call it like dark or whatever, death. But yeah, that seems like a reasonable overlap. So I did 2 elements. I could have done more. And let's just see. Sometimes arena can just be dumb luck, though, in the sense that like you just get a bad start and you're just screwed. And mulliganing in this is not super clear to me. You can give stuff up, but you don't get anything in return. So it seems pointless. Why not just keep it then, no matter what? Jedic, like a Jedi medic. So you get Death Touch, Lifelink. This is pretty good early on. Foul Play, destroy a target creature with power 2 or less is decent. There's one thing that just destroys a target creature, period, for only like 3 costs, which is amazing. Spectacle, Flying, Trample at the beginning. It seems like there's very few cards like that just destroy something outright. For a lot of these, so this is maybe a lucky thing that I have it. Return target from your graveyard to your hand. Target card. That's it. Like, it doesn't even... Overgrown Farmland gives you either only the tree... Doesn't this look like it could also give you the death thing? Add... I don't know what some of these things are. Add something. Add 1 mana of any color. But it costs 1 to do it? I don't know. I guess I'll start with the tree thing, even though it could be a problem. But these require at least 1 and 2 and 2, so you would need something else anyway. So I do want at least 1 of each of those. So I have a bit more advanced lands than this person. Like, they're using just basic lands. They're going to use a bit of the death thing as well. A 2/2. Paid 3 life. Sacrifice Priest of Fell Rites. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Activate only as a sorcery. Unearth. But it costs 3 life. And then Unearth is... I don't know what Unearth is. Return this card from your graveyard to the battlefield. What? So you can do a target creature, or you can do... Return this card as well. But they are a bit costly, I guess. 2, it gains +3/+3. I'm a little bit actually confused here. Like, what do I really want to do? There's no reason not to do that. Just do this. Just do this. And then I can still summon this, can't I? No, I can't. Fine. So he could bring it back, but it'll be a little bit costly to do. So he's probably just going to forget about it. The Hound Sniff, that's just flavor text, but I guess I don't have time for that now. I'll do it later. Normally I would. clue. Sacrifice this and draw a card, but it costs 2 to do it. So I should summon something of some significance here. Do I even have to do that, or does it automatically... That's what I don't get. Till the end of the turn, it becomes a 3/3 black beholder with menace, and whenever it's attacks, exile a card. What? I don't get it. It costs like a little more to do that. I could do this, and it's a 2/3. So that means even if he was to block with this, it wouldn't be enough. Return a target. I don't really want to do that yet. Enters the battlefield tapped. This is just another land. So I do have pretty good land stuff, as far as I can tell. Like, compared to what this guy's doing, they're just basic. Not that the choice really matters that much, but... So that just hits you directly when it comes in. Legendary creature, fairy rogue, rankle master of pranks. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, choose any number. Each player sacrifice... Holy shit, we gotta get rid of that quickly. Flying trample can deal excess damage, but it's not going to attack right away. So every time... Wait, what? Whenever it deals damage to a player, which it can do because it has flying, or maybe not. Maybe I can block with it. I can block with this, which is a 4/4. Lifelink if a non-token... If a non-token creature would die, summon a 2/2. That could be good later. Return something from the graveyard to the hand. Why don't I just do this? This looks good. And then we can always block with it. Return a target from the graveyard to the hand. Neither of those are that good because the 2/2 is not going to work on that one. I think I'll save it. I could even use this on the... Because it only requires 1 forest. Bala, Gad, Sanctuary enters the battlefield tapped. So you can choose to either do it as a... Oh, whoops, I thought I already did that. So we can use this to block. That's the main thing. You can block. So then you'll kill it. Unless he has some crazy buff, but at least it'll suicide. Gains minus... Oh my god. Well, how can you really play around stuff like that? That's the thing. This is where this healing thing becomes kind of busted, although it benefits you too when you get beefy stuff out there. These are just random decks that you draft. I mean, it's not like this guy should have such perfect stuff. So I could do this, but then I won't have enough to actually play anything. This is another one of those. Legendary Planeswalker Vraska. You may sacrifice +2. You may sacrifice a permanent. If you do, gain 1 life and draw a card. And you gain 2 charges on this too. Destroy target non-land permanent with mana value 3 or less. Does that mean you can destroy, like, do minions count as permanents? I still don't even know that. I guess I'll just do this as a 3/4. I don't really know what I'm doing. I could bring something back too. Bring that. But I don't have enough cost to do it, so it always confuses me that it still lets you try to do it. The costs always confuse me because the picture and the number are separate, right? It's not included in there. You have to sacrifice... Oh my god. That's so busted, man. So it just causes you to sacrifice something, at least you get something back. It's not going to be enough to ever deal with this, though. And he doesn't even have to block. Like, this could just win you the game by itself. Because it's just going to keep destroying something else. Of course, it causes them to have to give up their own stuff, but that means they're going to be less likely to do it. Sacrifice, draw a card, but that costs too much. This has been really good to me, generally. So is it going to be enough? You can always reset this, I think, and do it again. Add 1 of any color, maybe that. It's still not going to be enough, though, obviously. 3, 4, 5. I have 3. You can return something to the hand, but it's not going to be nearly enough. Gains +3/+3. I think I'm just going to lose this outright. I keep feeling like I can do that, but then I can't. Death Touch would be good. This would also be good. I just can't do it, though. So as much as I was bragging about the land stuff, I could still do it. I might actually be able to do that. Oh, that's the one I was talking about so fondly, but we might lose her for good if this is how it's going to go. He's just going to be able to block, and it'll do nothing for me. I'm only down to 14, but it's going to cause... Well, he's less likely to want to hit face now because he'll have to give up the 4-4. So if he gives up the 4-4 and I only give up a 2-2, that could be good. Right? Right? He has to give up something. So that's at least helpful to me. Either give up the 4-4 or the 4-5 that you just summoned. Whenever opponent sacrifices a non-token permanent discards, you may put that card from graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. So definitely don't do that. Oh, he's going to use a different effect. How convenient. I don't think I'm going to use this one because the other one's better. So it might seem stupid, oh, you're discarding a legendary, but I just don't think the usefulness is going to be there. Target card, so you could bring back anything. Oh my god. Oh my god. You can't tell me that what this guy is doing is just normal stuff. I still can't even do that. Flying Menace, when it dies, choose one. Each opponent discards 2 cards and loses 2 life. Put target non-dragon creature from graveyard onto the battlefield under your control, you lose 2 life. I guess that would be necessary to do because... Wow, I just can't do anything. Okay, fine. That's sometimes how Arena goes. I mean, there's nothing I can do. It is flying, right? It would only make sense. So you can block one of these suckers. This card is just god tier. Like, there's nothing I can do about it the whole game. There's nothing. I don't care who you are. You could be the best Magic player in the world. You can't deal with this card with this deck. There's nothing I can do. Just nothing. And it's just destroying me the whole time. That's so insane. But he chose not to attack. You're threatening lethal, so you could have just gone in... I don't know. This could be good because it gives a -2 to everything on his side of the field. So I don't see how that could be a bad thing. So now I'll just go buck wild. But then he'll let me hit face and then... He'll let me hit face because... He doesn't have to block. And then mine will be tapped. I think he's just going to kill me with that. But he has flying stuff too, so I can't do anything about it. Right? Like, I can't block with this. He's just going to win, dude. He probably already could have. He's probably missed lethal like 2-3 turns in a row, dude. Come on. Indestructible. Prevent damage to this. For how long? Effects that say destroy. Don't destroy a permanent indestructible. And if it's a creature, it can't be destroyed by damage. So it's basically just, that's it. I have no choice but to block. So I'm sure that benefits him somehow. I don't know why, though. He only attacked with one thing. I don't know what's going on. There's too much going on. You can add another thing. It enters tapped. May as well just do this, or is there something I could bring back? It's going to cost 3. So would I still be able to play something else? This is just basic math. If I could summon the flying thing, that would actually be worth it. But it's going to cost way too much. It's going to cost 4, 5, 6, 7, which I just don't have, do I? 1, 2, 3, 4. This. I guess I'm going to try because I don't really know what's happening, but... Or no. Maybe I should just do this. Maybe I should just do this and summon the 2 things to block. But I don't know. Just do this.
I will show you what happens.
I could do the life tap thing, but I don't want to.
I will cull the weak.
I'll just play very defensive and try to block because... This will block the flying. This will have to block. No, you know what? I'll block with the flying in this because I don't have to worry about this. I can block with the weenies. Seal away. Oh my fucking god. When seal away enters the battlefield, exile target an opponent controls until seal away leaves the battlefield. So basically that's just screwed.
Sacrifices must be.
I don't fully understand some of this, what's happening, but it seems like what he's using is pretty damn good. But that's not a good excuse. I mean, Arena is free reign for everybody. They could bring something back from the graveyard, but Seal Away prevented that from going there, so it's just like... I should be able to block the flying at least, but... I should be able to block everything, in fact. Double block that. Single block this. And then block this. I don't know what that exclamation... Insufficient blockers for declared attacker. So, will that come through? Can't be blocked except by 2 or more. So maybe I have to block this. I have to block this. Wait, what do you mean insufficient? That's so stupid, even though it's strong enough to kill it? That's so utterly retarded. So we'll be down to 1, and I think I'll just die to some base effect because he has so much shit going on. So we'll kill the 4-4 and the 4-5. And he's just going to do something crazy anyway. So I should still have 1 left. And of course, this just doesn't die for some inexplicable reason. Indestructible. Like, that's cool and all. Like, I should have known it's indestructible. But put a non-target dragon thing from the thing. I lose 2 life, which means I just lose.
Do what I demand.
I don't care. That was just ridiculous. Alright. That was very complex. I mean, some of these weren't that bad. Now, can I do another arena back-to-back? Like, how much do I get from that? Claim the prize. Is it going to give me 2,500? It's only going to give me 1,000, so I'm going to be forced to not do that now. That's unfortunate. So now I can just do a bunch of random stuff. I just want to do it like I did in Hearthstone at the beginning. Like, just do arena after arena after arena just for, like, a super long time. But I'm not going to be able to for a while. So let's just do some random stuff. Cast 20 blue or red spells. Blue or black spells. So what mode was I doing in just like the random play? I forget. I don't know why they put numbers after your name. Like, okay, alchemy or historic? Which one was it? I think I prefer historic, but let me look at it. Just so you can see other cards. Use the stuff from recent sets. No, I don't want to do that. I don't know why that's even targeted. Uses from throughout the history, which is the whole fun of it, to combine everything. Like, who cares about standard? Like, it's this metagame kind of mentality. Oh, yeah, you want to do the min-max, best, most recent thing. But who cares? Or you just get to have the fun of everything in the history of it. Which for some people is like, oh, it's imbalanced. But if it's imbalanced, that's not my fault. I just want to experience the most number of cards possible. For whatever fun that might bring. So these are all just like basic decks that are, you know, I haven't constructed anything because I don't even want to worry about that yet. Everybody loves to hear a great comeback story. Never give up. It's possible I could have still done something in that last one, but it just felt so overwhelming that there was way too much going on. I mean, I had legendaries too, but that 3-3 is what just ruined the whole game. So I'll just keep it. And so this is a pretty good low cost stuff. I don't think I've even seen this yet, as many games as I've played with this. Flash Enchant gets +5/+5 and has trample. That could be used as like a lethal thing too. This costs 2, this costs 3, this costs 4, this costs 6. Just to put the little symbols out of my head. Charm Stray. When it enters the battlefield, put a +1/+ counter. So he's going to try to stack those up pretty hardcore. Which means I should definitely try to get rid of them. Add a mana of any color. I think this I'd be more willing to just throw out there and kill it. But he doesn't have to block, that's the thing. And it has lifelink too, which is pretty annoying. I could be going up against some crazy decks, but who knows. So you can block with that. For some reason I couldn't block with that though when I had it. I don't know what it was that caused that to happen. No blocks, or I do want to block. But he's going to have some crazy buff thing. Okay, that's good. At least I got rid of it. So whatever synergy that was going to have is not there. You don't really want to sack this right away because you can keep generating. You pretty much count these as a land. I don't really know why. If you control a creature, add 2 instead of 1. And you're very likely to do that because this deck is all about big, beefy stuff. I really like this theme. Wait, maybe I shouldn't do that. But I can't undo it now. 2/1. When it dies, you may search your library for a card named Wretched Throng. Reveal it, put it in your hand, and shuffle. So he has a lot of stuff that maybe is weak, like, but gets buffed or something. Because like that cat or At least they have effects to cycle through. Okay, so next turn I should be able to do a big play because I'll have 4 mana. So I can do the Rumbling Baloth, which is only like a 2/2, isn't it? Or no, it's a 4/4. Never mind. Get that 5 mana 10/10 pretty soon. +2/+2 at the end of every turn. Activate only once per turn. You could get yet another one of these, but I probably should summon something bigger. Just get a big one out there and then see what happens. So they automatically do the effect if it's available, which is a simplification. So you don't have to do the calculation every time. Just like try to play it. If you can't, then don't, but it kind of does it for you, which does make it easier. So you could do a bit of a buff here. If he blocks with the 0/4, at least he can only do it once. It seems like he has a lot of different elements here, which could spread yourself thin a bit. Water, fire, forest, and this is just like anything neutral. Well, it's actually not anything, but it's just, you know, for the white stuff that is interchangeable. Now, this thing is crazy. I lost to this one once where, because of the trample effect, it will just hit you through it. We get like a little legendary crazy thing here. Let's see what it does. Choose up to one target, put +1/+1, and... But you gain +1 for doing it too. And a counter from among flying, first strike, lifelink, or vigilance. So again, when it says +1, that means you go from 5 to 6, so it doesn't hurt you in any way to do that. It's just a net positive. Like, isn't that... Okay. I just want to do another draft and see what other kind of fun stuff we can see. That's the whole point. Even if it doesn't add it to your collection, and I think the ones that do add it to your collection cost way more, like 10,000, right? So I don't have enough. So everybody was saying, oh, you should do the ones that add it to your collection, but I can't afford to do that. And I don't care, because even if I get a couple cards or packs or whatever from doing it, it's just fun to do. That's the point. Maybe the point of doing it isn't the reward you get from it, it's actually just the experience of doing it. How about that? So I could just do this, which is probably pretty worth it, because I can block against a lot of stuff. This is just like a buff. It seems like a creature because it's so expensive, but I could do this and I could do this, but I'd rather put something big to block. Now I could maybe hit with this and see if he blocks, but I think I'm going to play more defensively with these big things and let him deal with them. Because there's no way he can get through all this right now. But he's going to have something that just banishes stuff. You may play an additional something. You may play an additional land this turn. But of course he has such limited cards, it's like he's going to need some card draw now. I still don't know what that black thing means. Does that mean it can't block? Or because I feel like I've blocked with stuff like that before. It just means it can't attack, or I can't block anything. Flying. Oh, okay, he like buffed it or something. He's using some kind of rush stuff. So I just have to go aggressive myself, I think. Do this, and let's see what he can do. How's he going to withstand all this? This has trample too, so it'll even go through. I guess I won't attack with this one, though. Hit him in the face, and then it's up to him whether he wants to block or not. That's quite a bit of damage to let through. It's going to be 11, so you could block with all 3 and it still wouldn't even matter. It's still going to hit you in the face. You're already down to 10, so I'm going to be presenting lethal next turn. So it's a question of, can he present me with lethal this turn or whatever? Or he's going to come up with some defensive play, like he already healed somehow. These things are just so confusing. It's like, how much text is on here? You gain 3 life, exile the saga, return it to the battlefield, transformed under your control. Transformed into a better version, I guess? It's like you need one of these. This almost acts as like a hero power type of concept, right? The fact that you can use it every turn. That is kind of a fun thing, but if you don't have one, it can feel kind of a little bit bullshit. I have one in an arena draft, but not here. It's like, come on. I gotta earn my way to arena by playing constructed to be able to use better cards. That's the experience of a free-to-play new player. Like, fuck, dude. But that is often the fun of it. You know how many legendaries I got to see in arena and Hearthstone that I didn't have, or whatever, like great cards that I didn't have. It helps you learn and see some of the pool and this and that. I guess I could even do this. I guess we're waiting for the blockers. Because now I don't really need mana as much. Oh, I can't block, though. I just can't do it. Flying seems like a degenerate thing that people overuse. It seems like I'm just presenting lethal. Like, I'd love to see what you can just do. Create...
Fall back.
Even then, I get trampled
The
on.
angels have returned.
Right, don't I? So...
Better give up
I kind of just have to go for it. Well, it's going to be too many, isn't it? Wait, there's 5 of them or 3 of them? I didn't even see what happened. Create 5 3/3s. What the fuck? Whenever it attacks, you may mill. Return all cards from the graveyard tapped. So you can make this a 13, a 14. I mean, I'm just going to go all in. I don't even care. Or maybe I could split it a little better. No, because the other ones don't have anything else. I'm just going to go all in. I don't care. It'll be cool. It'll be cool. So he can block 15, which means he can block the whole thing. So I'm just confused, but whatever. Or how many can you block with? I don't even get it. 18. Like, hello, dude? Shouldn't some of this get through? Like, what do I have to do? What do I have to do to get something through? That's not gonna help you, dude. You're gonna take out all of them. It's not even gonna die because if they... Dude. You can just block with as many things as you want, huh? Dude. Look at this mad shit. You summoned 5 of them. Yeah, it doesn't matter what order, dude. It's the same thing. It just tears everything off, dude. You're just dead. Oh my god. That is a crazy effect, though, to summon 5 things. Flying is just going to be so overused, isn't it? Everybody's just going to be using flying. This is just unpreventable, unmitigatable damage, and you can't even hit the targets because at will, because you can only hit stuff when they block, which is a really hard thing to play around sometimes, especially when you can't block either. Right, that's almost bullshit, but that's why you have to have like reach and whatever other mechanics. So this is not really something you even want to start, but I guess this is actually a pretty bad hand, but I don't know why you'd want to return it to your library, because if I do, each time you mulligan, you draw 7, then decide if you want to keep that hand or an additional mulligan. Once you've decided to keep your hand, a number of cards equal to the number of times you mulligan. Like, I don't want this. I don't want it. You have to pay a price to mulligan. I'll just do it, but drag 1 card to the bottom. Turn all land cards from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. It's like, this is all just too expensive, you know? Whatever. You have to click. How does this work? Oh, you have to manually drag it. Just for the RP of actually putting it on the bottom. Okay. Dimitri. You are going to face some things that are just ridiculous, but it's at least forest versus forest. I guess I get kind of hooked on one theme, too. Like, I could try other stuff, but this is just kind of cool. This could be something from a past expansion, so you're just getting more variety as a result. I mean, I need quite a bit of these to be able to actually play this stuff, though. This is a 5, this is 7. 7 mana, 7/7. I'd rather have the 5 mana, 10/10, but we just saw how this won us the game because of that crazy trample effect. Whenever another merfolk enters the battlefield under your control, put a... Oh, this is going to be like a Murloc thing? Getting rushed down by Murloc decks, and I'm not even playing Hearthstone. Like, that's cute and all, but I'm not going to be able to do a whole lot. I'm just going to be dead. Like, that's what this is going to be. At least they don't have flying, but maybe he has a way to give them flying. Jade Idol plus Murlocs. Look at this. We're getting PTSD from all these Hearthstone decks that we got destroyed by. Jade Idol plus Murloc. Rush. Water tap. That's just too much. I'm gonna have to block a lot of shit. Oh man. Like, that's the problem. Sometimes it can be top heavy, which is a good problem to have, but I'm gonna have to block something, and he's gonna keep buffing. So this is like the Murloc War Leader, where it keeps getting the counter buff. When it enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter. So why does this get a +1 counter? So we're gonna have to block this one for multiple reasons, but we're not gonna be able to. Okay, I'm just done. I'm just done. This is what an aggro deck looks like. I guess we haven't seen too many quite like it. There's just nothing I can do. Target creature you control deals damage. Am I gonna have enough to be able to play both of these? Like, you could kill one, but you're gonna take lethal anyway. I'm just not gonna have enough to do anything. I'm dead still. It didn't change anything. Okay, look, dude. I wouldn't even say his deck is, like, too good. It's just a very specific thing, which maybe mine doesn't have the capacity to counter, or maybe I just didn't get the right things quick enough. It doesn't feel like there was a whole lot I could do. No, let me kill this one just in principle, because that was the one that really kind of went up on the tempo, right? It just gets rolling and there's nothing you can do to stop it because he keeps getting buffed. Okay, that's fair. That's perfectly respectable. Sometimes you're gonna just have games like that. It's almost like that's the sort of thing you should try to do as a new player, because you don't have very good cards, so you can just do like really weak stuff, but that just takes off on tempo. So if you beat them in the early game, right? Aggro is definitely more conducive to free to play than control, because that might require really fancy legendaries and combinations that you might not have. Whereas aggro could just be very... He still did have synergy, but it was like... probably wouldn't be as expensive to make. So let's see what this is going to be. Maybe mulliganing is what cost me, because it's like you don't really want this. I'll just keep it. I don't care about mulligan. It's like these are all good things, but you won't be able to use them for a super long time, so you want something cheap that you can actually play. You can't give them this much. Now I'm worried about it more in the early game just because of the last one, because that guy went crazy. But if he gives me a few turns, that's exactly what I want. Look at this bricked hand. I just can't do anything. I can summon a... what is this? A 4/4 at least? A 2/2 Death Knell Berserker. When it dies, if its power is 3 or greater, create a 2/2 Black Zombie Berserker. Okay, so basically it has to buff it. Wait. Oh, wow. This is why you need those 1/1s that create additional mana every turn. Like, what he summoned isn't even that good. It's just like... there's too much of it right now. If I don't get another land, in fact, I'm screwed. Still, I can't do anything. Yeah, I could have used that like 4 turns ago. Amazing. Will I even have enough to buff it? It'll cost 3+1. That's the problem with this deck, is that you need a ton of mana and you need it fast. And then if they have any removal for your big stuff, it makes it feel fruitless, because you'll spend your whole turn summoning this and then it doesn't even get to stick around. So you have to put stuff out as a bait. So I only have 3. So I just need 1 more, and at least I can summon the Baloth. Could block, but I don't think it's gonna... I'm not that worried, but once you start to get below 10, like, his board is just too imposing right now. Can be very, very tricky to deal with. Okay, that at least saves me a little bit. You get a 4/4 that could block a 3/3. And then I need more, though. I'm just begging for land at this point. I guess I could attack with this, because then if he blocks... I'd be willing... What the fuck? See, now you just lose. Now you just lose, because there's nothing I can do. It's way too late now. You gotta get some early game tempo going. I hadn't seen this epic proportions thing until today, even though I played with this deck so many times. Okay. I don't know if they're using really good decks or if it's just more so I'm getting unlucky on curve, because both of these games I just wasn't able to do anything early. It's too late. It's just way too late. He's gonna have another response. Anytime I try to summon something big, he'll just banish it right away. So I could block like 1, 2... So you'll still have enough to present lethal. Yeah, there you go. So that's a really good card, just to be clear. It costs 3 and it just destroys something. That's exactly the sort of thing I was looking for. Yeah, we get it. It might be not as respectful to say it on my turn. You should say it on their... Dude. I'm trying to be nice.
Have the longest sagas.
And he's doing this BM stuff. What did he say? The greatest heroes have the longest sagas? It could be the opposite. Like, the greatest ones die early because they put their life on the line. Okay, just do this one. A few more. I mean, maybe you should say I should try something different, but this one is fun, at least. I like it. It's just satisfying to get something big. That's almost been my philosophy always, like in Yu-Gi-Oh! Or whatever, too. Just get something big. That's why you'd think I'd like Pokemon, because it's like you get one big thing out there and it just sits there. And if it dies, you almost just lose based on losing a lot of minions alone, Pokemon alone. So in the context of like Yu-Gi-Oh! Or even this, you want to get, or Hearthstone, you want to get a big thing out there and then you feel like you just win. You get that 5 mana. This is really the problem I'm running into. None of this stuff is usable in the beginning. Like, at least this is good because you can get more mana from it. Return 1 card to the bottom. I guess I'll do the highest cost just because I can't deal with this right now. Target creature you control, so that's not even good till later. But at least I have something I can summon on turn 2, which is a blessing. You really got to get that curve off on the right. Everybody's playing such fast-paced stuff, though, isn't it? Now I could draw into any... Now it's going to be the opposite. I'm going to have too much mana and not enough stuff to summon with it. This is where the land can kind of just cuck you. That's why mana is better than land in a certain sense. Sure, there's some cool interactions with lands that you can do, especially having multiple of different kinds. But like with mana, it's just you don't even have to worry about the lands. You can just focus on the cards. So you'd have a hand full of different options that you can actually play at any given time, and mana just happens automatically. So I guess it just assumes that you would play one land every turn, which isn't even necessarily true, but that's why the druid thing is so interesting, like in Hearthstone, because that is focused around getting more mana, but in a game that doesn't deprive you of mana because you need lands to play, you just get it no matter what. So that would be worth blocking. Because you get a 1/1. He probably has a way to buff it, or... I mean, okay, but that was going to cause a problem later anyway. This has been like the last 3 games I've lost because of just not getting either proper mana, or in this case now I'm not going to get anything that I can use. How is this possible? So I'm getting it all at maybe the wrong time. Now I like what I have, but deals damage equal to its power to something you don't control. Maybe I ought to buff it first. That might be a good next turn play, because... Why is it showing like I can do that? Or I could just block this. So anytime something dies, this is going to... So if I summon something big and then I use this, I could just kill it on demand. It would be still worth it to do that. I'm going to bank on the fact, because it's only a 1/1 counter. Oh, maybe it would be worth it to hold off. Take 4 and then you can just kill it with this guarantee. That might be worth it. Because it won't get a buff, because nothing's going to die. And then I can still... Yeah, I'm actually going to hold back. Because what if I don't get something that I can use? And even if I do, it won't be able to attack it right away. So this is actually pretty good. So let me just make sure I can get this off. No. No. You can buff it and then do it, right? Don't tell me. Don't tell me I still don't have enough. I guess I can block for it. It's just so mana expensive, this deck. Everything is so slow and So it costs 4 just to do that. So obviously you can't do that. You're going to have to block the 2/2 or use it next turn then. Way too slow. I thought I'd have enough to do both just then. And this, of course, doesn't have 2, so that wouldn't have worked anyway. Okay, now he's going to let me block, but he might have some buff or something. This person is very attack happy, like he just let the rat die, even though it has death touch and could be useful later. If you have some kind of instant thing, there's just nothing I can do. Or in fact, that was the worst thing you could do because... Wait! Oh, whatever. I don't know how that interaction works. Like, it dies, but then it gets 1 back, so it survives. That's a pretty advanced interaction. So I need something big I can actually summon, and I just don't have it. I need to save that to get rid of the 3/3. Like, there's no way. That's so stupid. So I have like 6 mana, but I have nothing I can summon. So I need something like 4 mana, 4/4, or whatever. That way I still have enough left over to be able to play this stupid, or even something that costs 5 I could still do. Like the spider costs 5, I think. 3 and then 2 of the tree, whatever. It's amazing that kind of mileage you get out of 1 card sometimes. Because it is so hard to attack stuff. Like we saw that 3/3 legendary flying thing that whenever it hits your face, and of course the fact that it has flying means it's much more likely to hit your face, it causes each player to give up 1 minion. So as long as they summon something weak to throw off, to sacrifice, they can get rid of whatever's on your board, and you can't even block it unless you have flying too. What, did they just AFK out? Timeout use. How many do they have? 0 now. I have 2. Yeah, we haven't really seen anybody AFK out on time like that. I think we've seen a couple of people resign at the very beginning. Man, that arena was so fun though. So my first arena goes 2 and 3. Of course, I'm not the type to care about efficiency even at this level. I'm still going to do stuff for fun, but whatever. That's what's so boring about Hearthstone Arena, is that if you do play just for value, I'm just not getting anything I can actually use, huh? Just nothing. Wait, does that mean now I can't even block? Like, does that count as a... Man, I'm just dead. Or did they AFK? Is that the only reason? Because they didn't even do anything last turn. It's like it's too boring for them. So that extra mana doesn't even matter, does it? Because you're not going to keep it. So I could basically summon anything I want and still hit, but I'm just not going to be able to, am I? Deal 1 damage to any target, you can kill that. Okay. I'm going to take 6. So in this deck of all big beefy stuff, wow. We're getting like the worst of 2 sides. We were getting too many big things that we didn't have enough mana to play in the beginning. Now we're getting too much mana and nothing that we can actually use. That is just spectacular. That is such an expensive, stupid thing, too. This is just going to buff the other thing. It's going to be a 5/5 and a 3/3. So we could maybe just block the 5/5 with it and then tank the 3/3. You could say I should have probably saved it for something big, but I did that for about 3 turns and it just didn't happen. Maybe if I get the Indrik, it'll be able to charge into it. Basically, that's what it gets to do, right? You summon it, and then it can still attack, too. I don't think... Okay. I won't even say that person's deck was good at all. It was trash, or it was just very basic, but... I'm getting some kind of weird bad luck with maybe some of these starting hands, because it's like one extreme or the other. Either I'm getting too much mana, too many lands, or too many big minions that I can't summon. If you click end turn, you change your mind, you can cancel that quickly by pressing enter, return on Mac, or by clicking end turn again. That's kind of weird. I mean, end turn should be final. When you say you end, you end. Baldur's Gate is a welcoming and inclusive port city on the Sword Coast. It's a haven. What does that mean? How are you gonna copy? I don't get that overlap. Baldur's Gate is another series of games, dude. You don't get to just use that exact name. Or is that what it's from somehow? That'd be kind of ridiculous because I never knew that. Is there somehow an overlap? Okay, this is perfect because you have a little bit of both. So at least you can do these early. So I'm not going to mulligan this even if I, you know, was otherwise inclined to. So both of those cost 2, but then they allow you to get a third one, which means I'd have to summon like 2 of them. So a lot of these people are using very high tempo stuff where they just keep summoning stuff very early, which can be very disturbing. 1/3. Whenever a creature you control explores, put a 1/1 counter. So I don't know how common exploration really is in that regard. Add a mana of any color, which doesn't really make much difference because this is like a tree hugger, tree only deck anyway. Let's see how much of that he's going to benefit from. You would think that I'd be going against people who aren't very good or who are relatively new as well. So it explores right away, so he's already getting synergy. Nice. Could be fine if I get something else decent size out. So I'll have 4 next turn, so I can just do this. That's fine as long as we can get some decent tempo going. Do this. And so we could at least block that. Oh, it's not a 4/4 unless you get the buff. There's another one that's the same cost, right? That's a 4/4. So that synergy might not be very valuable. But you put... Oh, no, it becomes a 5/5. Do you put it on this or do you put it on the other one? When it enters the battlefield, put +2, 1/1 on each other creature you name. So not on this one. But then the act of summoning another one would also buff this too, wouldn't it? It would kind of work both ways. So you get it into a +5/5. So a lot of exploration synergy here, which makes this possibly very hard to deal with. I could block the 2/1 though, no? At least I have a decent amount of mana. So I can't block that. Just... It's only going to be a 4/4. I don't fully understand how I'm going to benefit from this. Well, since I'm deciding not to block, I may as well just do that. So either you block and get killed, or you... for nothing, or you trade these, which is fine. Because there's nothing, yeah. There's nothing I can do about the 3/5 ever. And he's going to keep buffing it, too. That's one of those you just need a hard removal card for. Like something that 3 cost that just destroys a minion. I'm not sure how much stuff like that there is in the tree. There's a lot of stuff that seems to counter flying stuff, I think, but destroy a flying minion only. It's almost like you'd want something that turns any minion into a flying type just to be able to use that on it. It had quite a few effects like that. Do you choose not to? Oh, I guess I could eat the hit, though, at least. Get +5/+5 and trample. So maybe that would be worth doing. That way, either you... I think I'm willing to do that, so... The 9/9, which is pretty good. So if you could just tank it and choose not to block, and then maybe you have some other way to deal with it. Or you could block it with the 2/1, but then you're going to take the full brunt of the damage anyway. That's not going to make much of a difference. And so you do have this big beefy 9/9. That's pretty cool to supplant the need for summoning something bigger just by making this bigger. He could of course have some response to it, but that's the problem though. Even when you present damage like that, they still could choose not to block. They can just let that sit there. So that could be a little bit problematic. Let's see what this is. All these page-long things. That's almost like a meme that it shows you that page. Until your next turn, creatures... Okay, they just resign. they can't deal with the 9/9, so that's always satisfying. Just summon something big. It is almost like the Kaiba Blue Eye thing from the beginning, right? When Yu-Gi-Oh was so simple, like even in the show, it's like summon a 3,000 attack monster and there's just nothing they can do about it. And you don't even have to sacrifice for it, and you don't even have to, you can summon a bunch in one turn, just do whatever you want. But yeah, like nothing had over 3,000 attack value, so unless he got his Blackluster Soldier out at that point, which Yugi's grandpa has all these amazing cards that you don't see till later, like the Black Magic Ritual and stuff. How come he doesn't use that at any other point in the whole season 1? Maybe he just doesn't draw it. So these are good. I guess this is good at least. It's like... So you mulligan, you don't mulligan a card, you mulligan the whole hand. I guess I'll keep this, but you don't really want 2 of these this early. That was a weird interaction. One of their minions died, it got to 0 HP, but then because it got buff +1, it survived. You'll need to discard something. No, I won't though. I guess you only discard if you don't play something. So now we'll get up to 3, but 3 still isn't enough to summon something else, right? We'll do 1 and then 1. That's the problem with this. We would need still another land. I guess I could just summon this and then I would have enough, but I have to wait a whole nother turn. So turn 2 to 3 seems like a big tempo play. Like if he summons something and I don't, I guess something good. Reach. When it enters the field, you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield tapped. Okay, this is good. Now we can get out what I wanted. Just a simple 4/4. So this is different than the other one, but does it still synergize? I think it has to be that exact one. The other Baloth, right? Isn't that what it's called? Maybe they do synergize, and I've just never seen that. But it felt like the exact same thing. So you summon the 3/3, then the other 3/3 makes both the 5/5. Because they interact with each other. So now we'd be able to get rolling with a good mana curve. Even if he deals with this, I have this, 5, right? I should be able to do it. Or I wouldn't have been able to, but now I can. So now maybe I get punished by overcommitting and AoEing. Put a land card, doesn't really matter much. So now we get our dream scenario. So all I have to do is keep drawing into big stuff. I could even use this to get rid of something if he does summon it. And that works even if they like CC it. So unless they outright destroy my thing, they could like stun it so it can't do anything, but it can still use cards like that, which is sometimes pretty good. So that's probably a pretty bad play because it didn't... I mean, I guess it buys you a little bit of time, but... And I guess the effect on that isn't really that good anyway. It's not like a continuous thing. I just want to pick on a bunch of... Kahira of the Orphan Guard. Is that like the character or what? I don't... Oh no, that's like their companion. Chromatic Lantern. Lands you control have add 1 mana of any color. What? That's so ridiculous. That like doubles lands then. Isn't that crazy? Or does it just mean... That's kind of unclear text, because it could either mean it gets another mana every turn and you get to choose the color, or it just means you get to choose any color. Because they already add 1 mana anyway. I'm not sure. That seems insane, though. You can just go... I mean, let's just hope he doesn't have any AoE. And if he does, I'll feel like a moron, but... We're going to be presenting basically lethal here. 8, 9, 10, 11, yeah. And anything he summons I can destroy with the Rabid Bite. And the thing about Rabid Bite is you still get to attack even after that. Okay, Death Touch, Lifelink, not a big deal unless you can buff it like crazy. So you wouldn't want to attack with these two because then he'll heal for like 4, but honestly I wouldn't mind going all in even. But I don't even have to worry about anything. I can just do this. Amazing. So good. And now you can still attack. That's what's so busted about that card. Perfect lethal, honorable kill. I should get a bonus for that. When you get somebody to do exactly 0. Because it does let you do like minus damage too. You can BM them and see how low you can get them. Like you get them to minus 30 or something crazy. Does it show you like your overall record? I guess I could always look at my record like in... Not that it matters now, but... Just for the fun of it. To see like what's your record with a particular deck or on a particular day. Is this one of those mobile things where you have to actually click on it to get it? Like you complete the thing, but you have to... Wait, why does this not have anything? Level 7 has nothing. Level 8 has a pack. Whatever, who cares about that? The store, which I wouldn't want to use, I'd rather just do another arena. And I don't even mind doing cube. People were telling me not to do it because you won't get the cards, but at this point I don't even really care about the cards. That means these are just ones that I already have. Like, look how many I actually do have. If I wanted to look through and make stuff. You have no packs, that's fine. Angelic Accountants. That's such a weird name. Do my taxes for me. Yeah, we'll try a couple more of these. It's pretty fun, actually. But yeah, like I said, you shouldn't get stuck on one deck, but I am enjoying the theme. It's like when it works, it really works. You get some beefy stuff out and there's just nothing they can do about it. But when it doesn't, you either get stuck on curve, you don't have enough mana, or you have too many big things and not enough mana, or too much mana and not enough big things. That's happened quite a few games in a row. And it maybe is weak against aggro stuff, because even though it seems like you can stop it later, it won't be able to stop the flying stuff. It's amazing that there's so much stuff. Maybe a few too many of those, dude, but it is good early game stuff. The problem is the effect is just way too costly, but it is good to... It almost makes me seem like a rush deck, like, oh, I'm going to get a lot of these and whatever, but... On a Jungle Delver. But it wouldn't really matter. So it doesn't mean that... Or no, on Jungle... Never mind. But no, it's kind of like... There's a lot of anti-flying stuff in the tree set, but this deck doesn't seem to have any of that, so that's pretty amazing that our weakness... Okay, he's kind of wasting some of his stuff on something that isn't even very good. Do it again. Waste another card on it. Let's see how valuable that was. Deals 2 to any target. I guess it's not a super valuable card. Oh, I should have... Ah, oh, I keep forgetting when you can do that. So if he blocks, at least it would be worthwhile. So I would have already had a second one out there. That was a big mistake, honestly, at this stage. So you can just tank the hit or block it. It would be very stupid to block it. Right, you should understand the value of this. This thing was crazy. In the other one, once it gets rolling, it can be very hard to stop. So next turn, I'll be able to do the Pack Hunter. So I really missed a chance. Okay, that's kind of a stupid play to make. My effect is nowhere near as good as yours. Pay 4 per +1/+1, or just every time something dies, get +1/+1. Or every time something of yours dies. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies. So this will have trample as well. He has a lot of removal stuff that just does damage. Possibly to the face, too. So does Planeswalker mean you, or does it mean one of those legendary things? Okay, this is good. We can save the other Jungle Delver. This guy's going to start to hate that card, even though it's not very good, and it's not really worth using removal on, I feel. You probably should have saved both of those. No, but that one you... Wait. Yeah, that's all I had. So you just wasted 2 removal damage cards at least on... Okay, that's at least worth it. I can give you some on that. So now I'm going to run dry on cards, so I have to hope I draw into something good and big that I can actually use, which I do. Very fortunate. I can even do this. And then if I have mana to burn, I guess it is worth it to do the buff, but that's just... It feels like that should cost maybe 2 or 3, not 4. We haven't seen anything that's like a mind control that switches the control of something directly, or... stuff that puts it under your control, like once it goes to the graveyard or something, but either that or something like that pits your stuff against each other. That must be a theme that we see at some point, but like the priest cards are all about that in Hearthstone, which makes sense because mind control is like a priest spell from WoW. It always makes it easier when you have some established IP or like other base to go off. I don't know what Magic had at the beginning, right? It just kind of came up with it itself. I don't know what it was based on. Like there's no game of Magic, like a RPG type of thing, that I'm aware of, at least. Unless it's like some kind of RP Dungeons and Dragons thing, but I mean like having an established universe is different than that. Like even the Elder Scrolls Legends, you know, has the whole Elder Scrolls series. So you may as well do it. In fact, you could do it multiple times, and maybe that's the good thing. You could do it multiple times in the same turn if you really had that much. But imagine spending 8 mana just for a 2/2 gain. That's kind of shit. Wow, he's really worried about those. It is not a bad hand to start with, though, but if somebody was a little bit smarter, they wouldn't have overcommitted to wasting stuff on that. Okay, now we're getting some good stuff. Flying, so at least we can block. That's almost a perfect top deck to deal with that. At the beginning of an end step, if an opponent lost life this turn, okay, he gets a 4/4, only fair. Whenever, it's also flying, which maybe doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So the best case, he could just trade into it. Whenever a creature dealt damage... So does that mean it survives and gets a 1? Because that's bullshit. That's a bullshit. Oh, fucking... Or no. How come in the other instance that would cause it to still have 1 HP? I don't know. I guess they die at the same time? That's kind of a complicated thing that we saw happen the other time. Okay, okay. I'll keep saying it, that's why we like mana, but it's okay. There are some good and bad things about land. But I think it's it was a good decision they made. That was a genius thing. Because even if you like lands and there are good things about them, it's just an alternative, right? It's an alternative way to play. And so that's fine. And there are still cards, if you like lands, you'd love Druids, because that's all about adding extra mana over the top of what you already have, like Innervate and Wild Growth and this and that. So I think I might just lose on this, but I could summon big stuff. I have 8 mana just aching to be used, but then you have... I don't know how many lands you have in an average deck. It's almost like the elements, you know, for the Pokemon, where you get the little fire stuff. I actually really like that. I want to try the new one when it comes out. Or I should try to get into the beta. It's apparently only in Canada and Mexico. It's like they're trolling the United States. Like, they're just around it. Everybody but the US gets it. Like, put it on different countries in the world. Sure, India and this and that, Japan. But why the fuck just those two? That's so random, isn't it? And their explanation is like, oh, it gives us a chance to get feedback. Yeah, you can get feedback from anywhere in the world. What? That doesn't explain it at all. Well, whatever. I think they did that with, like, Plants vs. Zombies 3 or whatever. Like, they put it in some random countries. Like, I would say that even if it's the United States, okay, that's random. Like, why that particular country? Like, either put it in a lot of them. Like, put it in 10 different countries, then nobody will question it. But if you just put it in 1 or 2, then it feels kind of weird. They're maybe putting it in countries that feel like they're going to have less of a player base. I don't know, like how popular is Pokemon in Canada or Mexico, or I have no idea, but shouldn't it be in Japan first? Because that's when you know it's going to be the most popular anyway. Japan always gets dibs on anything game related, and I'm fine with it. Would you... Well, I guess he's passing a turn to me, which I don't mind. This is what I mean, dude. But this could theoretically happen in a lot of decks, but it's kind of like... So there must be some interaction he can do here that would allow him... This is like the trap card thing in Yu-Gi-Oh! Where it always gives them the chance to do it every single interaction that you do. Even if it has nothing to do with that interaction. So I'm getting a little lucky by some of these people AFKing out, but it still might not help me. So now we're actually in top deck mode. So you would need some card draw. That's the one alteration I could make to this. Just give me some card draw and maybe give me some stuff that deals with flying better. But that might change the whole essence of it. That's... Fighter is pretty good. Vigilance and Reach. Which means it can attack and block still. There's no reason not to attack with it unless you don't want to trade it for something. So he ran out of time and he just dies. Which doesn't reflect the state of that game. I might very well have lost. He just doesn't like the top deck mode, in principle. Level up, so that means we get a pack. Which I shouldn't have to go here to really claim. I should just be able to... Wait. Isn't that what that means? I don't know what happened. I thought that's what that symbol means. Oh, you need 75 out of it. You get it from this level. I get it. How much do I have? I just want to get to that again and do another arena. Or at least we can do the draft and look forward to it for next time. 4,000. That's going to take a while to get, though. Maybe not. I don't know what those are. Like blue and black and this and that. What does that mean? Black would make you think of like the death, anything to do with the grave thing. But what is blue? Is blue like the water? I'm assuming mine would all be green then? I mean, that's the only thing I can think of. It's like, it's fine, but these aren't going to come into play for a while. This is always really good, though. You could almost look at this as, like, destroy a minion for nothing, except for you have to have something strong on the board, which you should have anyway. Scoured Barrens enters tapped. When it enters the battlefield, you gain 1 life. So I do like some of this overhealing. Flying and lifelink. So we're going to get just destroyed by flying once again. You could use this to kill something, but that wouldn't be worth it, really. It's like a healing flying deck. Or I guess it's not necessarily flying, just from having one thing, but that kind of goes against the whole concept of it. Flying is about aggro and whatever. Whenever another creature enters, you gain 1 life. So it's a very healing heavy thing, which might not matter, because if I get to the point where I can summon a lot of stuff, you can already just do this. You know, it doesn't matter how much health they have. It can come tumbling down really quickly. Just get a dominating board position, and that's all you need. We could summon the spider next turn. This is a decent opening, at least. In fact, this would counter the flying for what he does have. If you would gain life, gain that +1. Angel gets +2/+2 as long as you have oh, shit. But that's why... oh, it's almost you want to combo these two together. Shit. I'm 1 short of this being able to do the trick. And of course, I won't be able to do a whole lot about the life. 3/3 is just going to get destroyed. So now if this survives, I can do this, even if it gets stunned. So the only thing he could do is destroy it outright. But at least it's not a counter effect. Like every time you gain life, it gets +2/+2 or something. Ooh, boy, that one's going to... okay. So now I need another one of these. Or I could do this and attack too, maybe. If only I could do this. Like, I wouldn't mind doing that, but I can't do it yet. Fuck. Okay, so that just destroys it. And now I can attack too, and it won't even get tapped. You can do this as well, or... yeah, okay. You may as well, because he can't block with that angel. And then we can always block it too. So there's no downside of... oh, and it loses the buff. If I had been that genius, I would have noticed that ahead of time too. That's totally why I attacked. But there's no reason not to, right? With Vigilance, there's no downside. Jesus Christ, though. This is a little bit rough. We're going to get the extra card draw, which is very good. Continuous spell. But we can still block. I'd rather block this one, though, because this... maybe I could bring down below, or... I don't really want to dignify doing that, because... it's like we can reduce it... oh, for... oh, fuck. Celebrating over the card draw. 1/1... so just attack with this, I guess. If he wants to trade, he can trade. I'd be okay with that one, at least. I guess you could just block with something else, but the act of you blocking isn't going to hurt me, because then I can still block too. So it's not going to matter. I'll just heal up. That's one bad thing, actually, that's almost busted. The fact that you heal at the end of every turn is bullshit. Like, that's so busted, but I guess it goes both ways. Like, it makes trading stuff like that completely useless, because there must be a good reason, so you can't just have a ton of weenies and keep blocking like that. But wait. But this had Vigilance. He must have done something else. Yeah, that... okay. Vigilance doesn't negate stuff like that, but that's a good finisher card. I didn't have time to read the name, but... okay, fine. So I didn't get anything for that one. You should always get some guaranteed amount, even if it's like a small amount. Like, give me 10 gold every game, regardless of whatever. But then you could just keep conceding on purpose. So I guess wins would be a necessary element. Like, even in Hearthstone, there was a certain thing, like, you get 100 gold a day. Every 3 wins, you get 10. So if you win 30 games a day, which is a lot, in, like, just standard constructed whatever, you could guarantee almost a full arena run just from that, which is It's a lot, though, to win, not only play 30, but win 30. Kind of encourages an aggro thing. I do just want to get to an arena point where I can do one, a cube or whatever. So 4,000 isn't too bad, but I mean, I obviously didn't get that much from it. You have to be able to get 4,000 from it to do an endlessly sustainable thing. So these are questionable, but again, you're not going to get much better than maybe that. Vorion Sky Nomad. That's some kind of like companion that you get to choose. Legendary creature. This card is your chosen companion. Once per game you may 3 at any time. You could cast a sorcery to put it into your hand. Well, that's cute. I obviously don't have any such option. So not only do you get a legendary, but you can literally pay to win, but at least pay with in-game resources. Snow-covered mountain. Basic snow land. So I don't know what that means. I'm assuming it could double as fire and... Well, I would say ice or water, but there is no such thing. Well, water is. So you could... Okay. At least we have a couple things we can play. So if I do this and this... Well, actually, that looks like an Eye of Sauron type of thing. Fire Prophecy, deal 3 to a target creature. Not a huge deal. I guess it is kind of a big deal because I won't be able to do what I was just about to do. You could do this, you could do this, and you could do this. And then next turn we should be guaranteed to set up for something good. So we're getting a good balance of stuff. In fact, these are even good, like more mid-game stuff. I don't want that 7 cost or something, but there's not too many things that are super expensive, right? It curves around, like the end game is considered more so 5 to 7 instead of 10, like in Hearthstone, because they don't expect you to necessarily get to 10. When a pack hunter enters, it's only for the pack hunter, so that doesn't matter yet. You may as well just attack. I don't see the downside. But you're just invincible? Cool. Devotion to any color. Wait, what does that mean? How are you just not taking damage? What? What is that even from? If a source would deal damage to your permanent, you or a permanent prevent 1 damage. Okay, that's like that armor thing. Reduce all damage to 1 instead. It's negate all damage that's 1 or less. Well, that's not above 1. It'd be cool if these interacted with each other too. But that'd be too good for a starter deck, eh? Anything named Baleth, period, not just Pack Hunter. So this could buff this at least then. It wouldn't work the other way, but... Like, what's better, a 4-4 or a 3-3 for the same cost that potentially could buff one another? But that's... to a 5-5. That's too limited of an effect, right? This is better on average because you just don't even have to worry about it. It's just better, period. We do have those, see, but... Can I do both? No, I can't because... I have 6, and this would cost 8. Whenever World Shaper attacks, you may mill 3 cards. When it dies, return all lands from your graveyard. I guess you don't really get lands in your graveyard that often, though, huh? I don't know how that really... Oh, that was kind of a bad idea, though. Why didn't I just... I keep doing that just in principle. To attack even with the weenies that aren't going to do anything. So, no, I should have probably played a Pack Hunter. For some reason, I thought I could do both, which... I don't know why I thought that. Or maybe I'm trying to not overcommit in case they have some kind of crazy AoE. We really haven't seen too much AoE. So once you get a good board like this, it's kind of hard to deal with unless they get a good board too. They could pay for like that legendary, I guess. You almost should do that because what if you just draw it, then it feels like a waste. But then again, you could look at it the other way too. It'd be a waste to do it if you were about to draw it. But I guess you wouldn't know if you were going to draw it. It seems like people have trouble getting rid of stuff like this, too. I certainly do. Like, whatever these are, like, continuous stuff. Front side, back side, artifact, god. Kind of a spooky intro sound that you get. We could just kill it, but it probably has some immunity or crazy stuff. Enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Spend this only to cast a creature spell, chosen type, legendary creature spell. As long as you control 3 or more legendary creatures, blah, 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 plus 4, plus 2. So I'm assuming this would just work. And that'd be cool if it did. Just destroy it outright. Controller pays 1. Whenever it becomes the target of a spell, unless they pay 1. So I paid 1. There you go. How many I gotta do? Auto pay. Like, what do you want, dude? Obviously, I'm gonna pay. Wait, what? What? Wait, why did it... I paid that. That has nothing to do with it. This should have done 4. What the fuck? I don't know why. That seems like a bug. Whatever the fuck, man. No reason to block. Why didn't that work? That's so stupid. So it reduces all damage by 1? Is that what it is? Prevent 1 of that damage. So basically it's retarded. Okay. Nice. There's basically nothing I can do then. Alright. That's my fault. I should have known that, but... Trample whenever a creature or planeswalker an opponent controls is dealt. I mean, probably this guy's stuff is too good just because it has backsides and mine don't. That's a sign of power creep, I guess. You could do this. You could do this. So nothing I do is going to matter because it reduces the damage by 1. So I'm basically just stuck. And I'm getting like the perfect unlucky thing. Because he could just trade and I wouldn't be able to do anything. I would do 3 instead of 4 because of some bullshit thing that I can't get rid of. So it's fun and interactive aspect. There must be stuff that can get rid of that. I just don't have stuff like that. You would think I would have seen it by now if... So how many cards do we have left? Like, we look at the pace. 44 versus 60. Wait, what the fuck? Why do you have 65 cards? Destroy target non-land permanent opponent controls. I'm assuming these wouldn't count. So the card draw is gone at least. Okay. So would this count as a non-land permanent, I suppose? Or it's more so this one that I'd want to get rid of, an artifact. Trash a deep dwelling 2/5. We're getting fractions now. That's how complicated this game is. I don't know what that means though. 6/5 indestructible as long as your devotion. Why does the 6/5 even matter? It's not like you can... Oh, maybe you have the option to play it as a minion or like this. So we'll make it a 5/5. And I'm sure if I attack it still won't even work. Also, they don't interact with each other. So that should be enough to kill it, but he chooses just not to do it. So we're overcommitting to the board, which he probably has some crazy reaction to doing. Like a board clear, but let's just see. So he's willing to just tank the 5/5. That even if I defend back, that won't kill it because... would deal damage. So it doesn't matter whether it's defensively or offensively dealing that damage. So I really can't afford to block much myself either, but... Wow. A lot of good synergy going on. Almost too complicated for me to understand, but whatever. Too bad I couldn't kill that because of that stupid 1. It should really say like, okay, if you do 1, it doesn't do anything. You have to do over 1 for it to get through. Well, once you do over 1, it doesn't still reduce it. Exile up to 1 creature, blah, blah, blah. I think I did about as good as you can do in this one. This person is just trolling me somehow. Or maybe it doesn't work on blocks. I'm just unclear on that idea. I'm just going to leave everything to be able to block. Shouldn't he be able to attack with the 5/4? Oh, I guess I could maybe block with Okay. I could block with multiple things. So can you just do that every turn or what? I don't really get it. Because that's kind of cool. You can just destroy something every turn and just endlessly. The World Tree, we're getting the fucking source of all life on Azeroth here. What is this, dude? Sacrifice the World Tree, search your library for any number of God cards, put them onto the battlefield and shop. We're getting God cards from Yu-Gi-Oh! And we're getting the World Tree from cards from World of Warcraft all in one. Like, what the fuck is this, dude? What is this? What am I looking at? Like, what kind of busted ass bullshit is this? Looks like a win condition to me. Like, what? Yeah, I could totally... Am I missing something? Like, what just happened? So basically, that's just a win condition. You win no matter what. It may as well just say that. Yeah, speaking of getting somebody to -30, there you go. Fair and balanced. Now, maybe it's hard to get to that point. Sure. Sure. But, come on. That must be something meta-ish. It didn't seem that good until you get the win condition. Then once you get there, you realize, okay, that's just busted. That must be some... It might not be something that's meta now. Maybe the power creep has even exceeded that. But, like, basically, once you get to that point, you're just screwed. Just summon everything from your deck. Cool. I really just want to do another one of these, but I can't. Need 1,000 more, queue under 1 minute. So these ones cost 10,000, but they add the cards to your thing permanently. Or not this. What's the difference between traditional? Open and pass around. I actually don't know what the difference is. Traditional versus arena. No. Arena queue versus traditional. Maybe just like older cards or something. Only the card pool isn't bound to a single magic set, but are drawn from the best of all time cards available. So that actually seems more like my style. That's almost like Wild Arena. Okay, that's good enough for now.